just thought I'd do a quick clip on how to save money in the back of your van. Basically just planning your journey well, figuring out where fuel stations are mainly that are not on the services on the A roads or on the motorways. Like, take for instance when I came here this time, I left Plymouth, so I filled up in Sainsbury's at 139.9 before leaving Plymouth, and I can get all the way to Gretna Green on that before filling up in Gretna. And I worked it out because I put Google Maps on before I got there, and 5.6 miles before the slip road off the motorway there was a garage, 165.9. So it was 0.8 miles then from that slip road to the garage in Gretna, 138.9. I put 58 litres in, saving 27 pence a litre. That's basically £16 I saved filling up, just turning off for half a mile. So instead of using the motorway to go right around Gretna, I just drove through Gretna. So I didn't even add any time or miles on, but I saved £16 filling up. Plus, you could look at it like I saved another £16 filling up in Plymouth before I left. It's just about planning your journey to save money on fuel. Plus, Google Maps is good actually on your phone, because all you do is you put petrol stations in near me and it will come up with lots wherever you are. Because a lot of people say that, oh, there's hardly anywhere to fill up in Scotland, but there is. They're all over the place. You just got to find them, you've just got to know where they are and then remember where they are, because that will save you a lot of money. Because then I drove from Gretna to Craigmeggy, then Craigmeggy all the way to Auchengill, spent a few days there. Then you fill up in Wick before leaving, because it's only 137 and Tesco's there, and basically that'll get you all the way back to Gretna easily enough. And as long as you plan it, plus I know a couple of other garages on the way back, I have an idea of where they are, I can't remember what they're called, but yeah, so you gotta know where the garages are and just plan your journey well, and you save money like that. So by the time I get back to Plymouth, if I filled up 5 times, I've probably saved myself £80–85 in fuel, just planning the journey well. Another way of saving money is food. If you're like me and you buy the same sort of food all the time, buy, like Tesco, Morrison's, wherever you shop, own make. Forget all the branded stuff. Why pay 2, 3, 4 times as much for the same item? You look at the ingredients, they're basically all the same anyway. Yeah, the sauces might have a bit more water in, a bit runnier, but they're basically the same thing. So you can easily save £25–30 a week, and if you work that out, you'll be saving like what, £1,200 a year on food. It really is that simple. And then you say you go to Scotland like me 7, 8, 9 times a year, and you add all those 80 or 85, £90 savings on the fuel and that, before you know it, you've saved yourself £2–2.5 a year. Simple things like bin liners. Why buy bin liners? Even the little plastic bags. Why bother buying them to put your rubbish in when you're in your van? Just use your food wrappers. Not sugary ones or anything, you don't want to attract insects and stuff, but you know, you get your multi-pack of crisps, you get a big bag, use that as a bin liner. You know, stuff like that. It's so simple. That's what I do anyway. That saves all these things. You might think it's only a couple of quid, but over the course of a year, how many times do you buy these things? It adds up. And over the course of a year, making little savings adds up to making big savings. And the reason I'm saying this is, it's not to answer questions or things people might want to know before going into van life, but I've been watching some videos myself on YouTube about van life, and there's several people on there saying that this van life isn't that cheap and it's quite expensive and you still need a full-time job and all this. You don't. I've been doing this nearly 3 years. I don't work full-time. I'm self-employed. I've got a couple of dairy farms throughout the country, and wherever I am, I get on the blower and I'm available these days, yay or nay. I just do a couple of days here and there. I don't need to work full-time, because this van life is bloody cheap if you want it to be. It depends how you want to live when you're in your van. If you want all these luxuries and everything, then yeah, well, it's going to cost you the money. You've got to pay for luxury, ain't you? If you want to slum it like me in a real basic van, you can live for next to nothing. Seriously, you can live on hardly anything. But you pay your tax and your insurance, pay it off same month, one payment, whole year done, say it's £1,000, that's that done. You ain't got to worry about that for another year. And all it is say you go MOT and your little running costs. Your main cost is your fuel. Plan your journey, save your money on your fuel. Laughing really. It is quite cheap. So that's another thing I would say, mainly to the youngsters, the younger generation, whether you're on your own or you're a couple, You're working your asses off and you're like, oh, I can't save any money because I've got all this rent to pay, paying someone else's mortgage off instead of your own, because they won't give you a mortgage because you ain't got the money for the deposit. But of course, give all that up, slum it for a couple of years while you're young and it's a lot easier to do it, and save all your money. Seriously, if you're a couple and you're earning, say, 20-25 grand a year each, and you're living in a van with next to no overheads, I don't see any reason why you can't save 20 grand in a year. So if you do that for a couple of years, you've got a massive deposit, get your own house, you laugh and pay your own mortgage. You can use this van life to go without now to benefit yourself in the future. But I know people don't like to go without anything these days, but I love slumming it. Feels great. You don't need hardly anything that you've got in your house to live comfortably and enjoy life. But yeah, the youngsters, that's a bit of advice I would give you actually. And it is something that I actually did do. When I used to work full time on a dairy farm in Cornwall, I bought a camper van and he said, well, bung it on site and just live here. So I lived there. I had no costs at all. And I saved up 25 grand in 1 year, and that was it, because I didn't spend my money on anything. I was like, right, put it away, put it away, put it away. And you buy a loaf of bread for 45 pence, and you buy like tins of beans for 20p and jam for 30 pence, and you live on next to nothing. Tins of rice pudding for 25 pence. And do you know what I mean? If you're prepared to go without in the early days to benefit yourself later on, I think that's a great thing to do, and that's exactly what I did. So yeah, I just wanted to say that really. Hopefully that'll give some people some ideas or make people think about what they're going to do before they set off on their journeys, or wasting money on someone else's mortgage instead of saving your money. So yeah, worth thinking about. Right, I just thought I'd add on to that video. I was about to share it and then I thought, no, actually I thought of some more tips actually that are worth saying. You might think a lot of these are obvious, but never pay to stay anywhere. I've been doing this for 2.5-3 years, and I've never paid to park up my van anywhere. I mean, yeah, well, they might have some facilities and that you ain't got in the van, but I wouldn't. My advice is just don't pay to stay anywhere. I never have in 2.5-3 years of doing this, so that'll save you a lot of money, because a lot of people, they pay to stay on their pitch and their site, and they got their showers and all that, and a restaurant on site and that. But I wouldn't bother. That's one way of saving a lot of money if you're on a long journey, especially say travelling around seeing a lot of areas. Just don't pay to stay anywhere. That leads me on to the next thing about eating out. I never eat out, never go to restaurants. I don't bother with takeaways and that, because it's so expensive these days. The cost of a takeaway, I mean, nearly like a week's shop for me. So that's another bit of advice. I wouldn't eat out at all. Don't smoke. Stop drinking alcohol. I don't see the point of drinking alcohol when you're in the back of the van anyway. You run the risk of getting up the next day driving and being over the limit anyway. So I wouldn't bother smoking or drinking, because they're both a complete waste of money as well, and they're both extremely expensive. One thing you might not think about is credit cards. I live on my credit card, but I pay it off every single month. So I've never once been charged in my entire life interest on a credit card. But choose one that's got good incentives. I'm with Barclaycard, and their rewards are actually pretty good. I guess they've got different credit cards, but the one I'm on's actually pretty good. So when you spend, especially if you when you're buying fuel or you're buying your food in supermarkets, the places I shop in, I get like quite a lot of money back. I can't remember what the percentage is, but I average, I don't know, £10 or £12 a month they give me, and it just piles up. They used to give you these vouchers, didn't they, so you could go and eat out and whatever for free and that, but they stopped that, and now they give you 2 or 3% off your shopping and off your fuel and that. So get a credit card with good incentives so you actually benefit from it, and do not spend it if you can't afford to pay it, because there's no point paying the interest on a credit card, because then you just get in debt and it's a waste of money. So as long as you can pay it each month, I'd live on the credit card. That's what I do anyway. Do free activities. So like don't pay for a guide. Go on these guided tours. You know, if you want to go climb a mountain, bugger off and climb it. You know, you don't need a guide. If you want to go walking all around the coast and seeing all sorts of stuff, you don't need a guide. Just go and do it yourself. Just a little way of saving money, really. Another thing is tea and coffee. Everyone basically drinks one of them, don't they? And coffee's really expensive to drink out a lot. So just make it in the van. Because I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to go to this coffee house and that coffee house, and they, oh, £3-4 here and there, that don't half add up, especially if you do it more than once a day. So I would say just never pay for tea or coffee outside. Do everything in your van. Yeah, it's just a couple extra little tips. Don't pay to stay anywhere. Any activities you go on, make sure they're free. Don't pay for guides. Don't eat out. Obviously don't smoke, don't drink alcohol, keep wasting money, and they're about the most expensive things you can do. And a credit card, get a good credit card that benefits you as well, and don't spend it unless you can afford to pay it off. Just a couple extra little tips. So click like, click subscribe, comment, share my videos. Thanks for watching.